forest fires, brush fires, that sort of thing. Because of the drought, the fire department, a lot smaller back then, had spent most of the previous day fighting a different huge fire. So they were just tired already. They were exhausted. And if you're running your equipment nonstop, you're not really left with much opportunities for maintenance on it, which can and did lead to other problems. And along those same lines, the watchman on duty that night, responsible for spotting smoke and triggering alarms, triggered the wrong alarm, which sent the fire department running away from the fire instead of towards it. And then the first fire engine to actually arrive on the correct scene, engine number 5, broke down when it got there and couldn't actually do anything. If that's not bad enough, it was also October, so it's pretty cool outside, and we had gale force winds come in. So very cool, very strong winds coming in from Asgard, and then we have very hot air rising off the fire. Well, these things come together and combine to form literally fire tornadoes that just rip through the city, continue to tear everything apart, and spread the fire farther and faster. Luckily, we've got the river here, a nice natural barrier against fire. Except the river was so polluted at that point with, factory runoff and decomposing pig carcasses and whatnot, that it actually caught on fire as well, which obviously did not help the situation. So the fire burned for about 3 days, till a rainstorm finally rolled in and helped put a stop to it. By the time it was over 4 square miles of the city, about 17,000 buildings had been all wiped out. Over 300 people had been killed, and 100,000 people left homeless. It was about a third of the city's population at that point. It's a big, huge, horrible disaster. However, looking at it as a beautiful skyline, what we have to remember is that all of this around us is really only here because of the fire. As bad as it was, it also gave us a blank slate, this chance to start fresh. And that attracted all these brilliant architects from around the world with new ideas and new technologies to help us rebuild, become a bigger, better, modern city. That is why we're called the Second City. Because we are literally the second version of Chicago, risen from, and in some cases, literally built on the ashes of the first. So it was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad thing that happened, but it is also really the only reason any of this exists, the only reason any of you would have come to see it. So let's talk about some of it. Excuse me.